Ravensburger sent me the set 7 starter decks early, and we're going to be unboxing them in today's video. There's also more videos coming on deck guides for each, as well as other spicy set 7 content. Make sure you subscribe for the very best Disney Lorcana content available. And a big shout out to our channel sponsor, Card Market. Great place to buy singles online. So, of course, you get a pack in this as well. Unfortunately, mine's a press sample. I got this early. No pack for me, but of course, you can expect... Well, you will have a pack in yours. I'm going to try and open this so I can reuse the packaging. Did I do a good job? Not a terrible job. Let's slide it on out. Now, this is my first reaction. I haven't seen the contents of this starter deck at this point. The only thing I've seen is the Beast and the Bell. So let's take a look at the quick start rules and everything here. You've got what you'd expect, like some damage counters. You might just prefer to use dice, a lore counter. Again, people tend to just use a mobile phone app for those sorts of things. And you've also got a playmat to get you started, but it's a pretty gross one. I'm not going to lie. I mean, it's better than nothing. You won't catch me playing on it. But if you don't have a playmat like this and you're getting started, I can see why it might be helpful. So fair play. Nothing wrong with a little bit of a paper playmat. Why not? Quick start rules. So here we have the starter deck. Let's get it open. Of course, what you might want to do with these cards is put them in sleeves. Oh my goodness, the foiling on that is looking nice. Bell Mechanic Extraordinaire. This is going to be one of the centerpiece cards of the deck. But I've already seen both her and Beast. They are the two foil cards, of course. And the dual ink color is looking really nice in foil here as well. Get a little zoom in on both there. It is looking like a really nice foil effect on these cards. Happy to see that. The whole part of the card is foil, including the text. I'm not sure has always been the case. Whenever there's character quests, you may put up to 3 item cards from your discard on the bottom of your deck to gain 1 lore for each item card. Move this way. And Beast, Frustrated Designer. I've had it. You can exert it, spend 2 ink, banish 1 of your items, and deal 5 damage to chosen character. So ideally, you use Beast. Beast's ability, you banish 2 of your items, deal 5 damage, but then Bell, when you play her, can put those items back into your deck and you gain lore for doing so. So some nice synergy between Beast and Bell, as you'd expect. You may notice that some Archazia's Island cards have 2 colors in the band below the art. These cards have 2 ink types, but don't worry. Cards with 2 ink types don't play any differently than cards with only 1 ink type. Ink types only affect what you can include in a deck. Okay, so basically there's no like mention that it's anything special. In other words, yeah, if you've got a Ruby and Sapphire card, it can only be played in a Ruby and Sapphire deck, which is exactly what we expected. It doesn't say anything different. So Maurice is a rare. I think you usually get 2 rares in these starter decks. In Ruby, 4 cost inkable with a 5/2 stat line. Pretty good stats. It does only quest for 1 though. How on earth did that happen? When you play this character, you may banish chosen item of yours to draw a card. If the banish item is named Maurice's Machine, you may also banish chosen character with 2 strength or less. Very interesting. Being able to banish a character with 2 strength or less is something which Ruby decks do quite well, and particularly when you combine it with an item called an Ice Block, which lowers the strength of an opponent's or a chosen character by 1. So you play Maurice, you banish an item and draw a card. That's pretty good already. That's not bad. Obviously, the synergy there with Bell. And it's got a really good stat line. That's important to remember. We know there's a card called Hiram Flavisham, which is one of the best cards in the game, which when you banish an item, you draw 2. This isn't doing as much as Hiram, but it does potentially give you some control. It depends how good Maurice's Machine is, really. Lyle Tiberius Rourke. Oh my goodness. Big stats. It's an 8 cost inkable. 6 strength, 4 willpower. It quests for 3. Explosive. Once during your turn, whenever a card is put into your inkwell, deal 2 damage to each character in play. That is no joke. That is a bit like almost like a big giant Tinkerbell for Ruby. He got what he wanted, just not the way he planned. I'm really curious about the story of Lorcana. Has he been taken over by Jafar somehow? Oh my goodness. And another rare, Kida Creative Thinker. Kida, one of my favorite characters in Disney. 4-cost Ingable, 3/3 stat line, quest 4, and it has Ward, which is a really powerful ability. Key to the puzzle, exert her and look at the top 2 cards of your deck. Put one into your inkwell, exerted, and the other on top of your deck. It's an interesting card. The fact it has Ward makes it quite playable. There's some interesting synergy with Raya from set 6 here. I'm not sure if Raya will be in this deck, but it's definitely not a bad card, but not spectacular, I would say. All is Found, a new 5-cost song. So as soon as I'm seeing that, I'm thinking about a Amber and Sapphire deck with this card, maybe. With Ariel, she can sing songs. Put up to 2 cards from your discard into your inkwell, face down and exerted. There's a ramp card. Not bad. I have to say, it's not bad. If you were to play Amber Sapphire, you could play Pluto, you could play Ariel, you could play Pleakley, and then you could play All Is Found. At the moment, there's a friend like me, but I think this card is basically better than that. So those are all the rares. I'm not completely blown away by any of these just yet. I have to say, none of these cards are blowing me away. Interesting to note, like, the foiling effect on these cards. It's quite different to what I'm used to. Like leaving fingerprints on the card. Moana, the Island Explorer, 4-cost Inkable, 4/3 stat line, which quest for 1 is evasive, which is a great keyword. Adventurous Spirit. Whenever this character challenges another character, another chosen character of yours gets +3 strength this turn. It's not bad, but I wouldn't say it's spectacular either. There's 2 of those Moanas. Longboat, this is a card which we've seen in previous sets. It's actually quite a good card. Doesn't see competitive play though, but it's not a terrible card by any stretch of the imagination. Sir Kay, which is a vanilla stat line card and a new character for Disney Lorcana. 2-cost Inkable with a 2/2 stat line and quest for 2. That is like what you might call a vanilla card. But vanilla cards are often good. It's definitely not terrible. If there's maybe a shift Sir Kay, for example, which I would imagine there might be with a card like this, it could be a really good shift target. An owl in charge? Sure! He glared at the others. Then his eye fell on the target set up nearby, and he brightened. But as long as I still get to joust. Alright. Must admit, not familiar with Sir Kay's work, what he's from. Ruby Coil, this was also mentioned in the booklet. It's an item. Crimson Spark is the ability. During your turn, whenever a card is put into your inkwell, chosen character gets +2 strength this turn. Ventura felt a spark from his arm coil. The energy flooded his muscles, his strained muscles. Ventura felt a spark from his arm coil, and energy flooded his strained muscles. Definitely not a bad card. I think this one could see some competitive play. Okay! Oh my days. Another Ruby Sapphire only card, and it's that Maurice's Machine item which the unconventional inventor was alluding to. So, as a reminder, Maurice, the unconventional inventor, is one of the rare cards, and it's when you play this character, you may banish chosen item of yours to draw a card. If the banished item is named Maurice's Machine, you may also banish chosen character with 2 strength or less. And the ability on Maurice's Machine is Breakdown. When this item is banished, you may return an item card with cost 2 or less from your discard to your hand. Wow. That is pretty spicy. Now, the thing about this is it's a 3-cost item, which does nothing, but there's a lot of synergy with banishing items. Of course, you've got Maurice, the unconventional inventor. You've got Beast, which might want to banish it, and you've got Belle, which can put it back in the deck and gain lore, as well as Hiram Flaversham. But it is very expensive for a card which does nothing immediately. The items you're going to be looking to put back in your deck, Porpsicles, Ice Blocks. Porpsicle in particular, because it draws you a card. Very, very interesting. Of course, you can't put other Maurice's machines back. Is there 3 or just 2? There is 3. There's no way there's 4, right? There's not, but there's another dual color card. Beagle Boys. I wasn't expecting this many Ruby Sapphire dual color cards. 4-cost Inkable. 3/3 stat line, which quests for 2. The small-time crooks. Hurry it up. Whenever this character quests, chosen character of yours gains rush and resist 1 this turn. It's not bad. I wouldn't say it's spectacular. Honestly, this is not a bad card at all. So you play this on turn 3 maybe, because you're probably, if you're playing Sapphire, looking to ramp on turn 2. You play this on turn 3. You quest with it, and suddenly the card that you play for 5 ink could rush. Maybe something like a Donald Duck. Maybe, you know, rushing in with your beast, for example, would be a really nice bit of synergy there. I could see the synergy between Beagle Boys and Beast in particular, right? Even rushing in with Bell could be a big deal. So I think Beagle Boys in this deck will be pretty good. And obviously you're only able to play it in Ruby Sapphire. Gaetan Orlear with a 3/4 stat line. Fascinating. This shouldn't exist, yet it does. It may be older than the Great Illuminary itself. What is he looking at? Looks like he's found a little bit of lore. The mole. Oh, it's the mole! I only just realized it's the mole from Treasure Planet. Not Treasure Planet. Atlantis. Card is not very good, though. Won't see any competitive play, but it's not bad for a starter deck. It's just not going to be good enough to see serious competitive play. Mary, the Favored Kitten. It costs 2. It's got a 1/2 stat line, and it quests for 2. I'll show you. Whenever this character quests, you may give chosen character -2 strength your turn. Find yourself another Illuminator. This one's taken. Not convinced by this, but it's not the worst. There might be some synergy there, of course, with Maurice, the unconventional inventor. A 4-cost Inkable 3/3 quest for 1. Jebediah Farnsworth, the Expedition Cook. It has support, which is a pretty strong keyword, and the ability is I got your 4 basic food groups. When you play this character, chosen character gains resist 1 until the start of your next turn. I don't think this one's too hot either, but it's not the worst card I've ever seen. There's 3 of them in there. Cogsworth, the Climbing Clock, 3/3 stat line. It costs 3 and it quests for 1. Still useful, the ability. When you have an item card in your discard, this character gets +2 strength. So it's really going to be a 5/3, which is not bad at all. It's actually a really impressive stat line. Top shelf, sure. If it's a book the Mademoiselle wants, I'll find a way to get it for her. Someone's saying, sure. Cogsworth's pretty good. It could actually be good enough to see competitive play. We have a rush character, which is always a powerful keyword. 4-cost uninkable 3/4, the Stabbington Brother without a patch. Your other character's name Stabbington Brother gain rush. Alright. Let's see the other ones then. Maybe something similar to Flotsam and Jetsam. No sign of anything else just yet. We've got the Cybug, the Invasive Enemy. It's a 2-cost character with a 1/2 stat line, which quests for 1. Hive Mind is the ability. This character gets +1 strength for each other character you have in play. Cybugs are like a virus. They don't know they're in a game. Calhoun. Not too convinced about this one, but it's got potential to actually be a pretty reasonable card. It doesn't include itself, so I feel like this one's not great overall. We've got Toby, who is a 1-cost uninkable with a 3/1 stat line. It can quest for 1. Toby has the most splendid sense of smell any hound I've trained. But he can be... Hey, what are some complicated words going on in these? Usidely frisky? Some pretty complicated words in it. I rate it. It's going to be good for reading comprehension for the little ones. It's good for reading comprehension for me. Apparently. Embarrassing. I used to be a teacher as well. 5-cost Inkable Edgar the Ambitious Butler. 6/5 stat line, which is massive stats, and a quest for 1. All these traps, all these locks, all these machines. If they think that's going to stop me, they've sorely underestimated Edgar Balthazar. 2 of those. An Unconventional Tool, which is a 1-cost item, which is always really powerful, potentially, with cards like Beast, which are banishing it, and like Maurice. Of course, this is also going to be an item, as is the Ruby Coil and the Longbow, which you could get back with your Maurice's machine. When this item is banished, you may pay 2 ink less for the next item you play this turn. Okay, that's pretty cute. You play the Unconventional Tool, you banish it with Maurice, and then you play Maurice's machine, and you kind of cycle them. Gold Coin, which is an item which banishes itself. Banish this item, ready chosen character of yours. They can't quest for the rest of this turn. This card actually sees competitive play. Chacha, which we already know, she's like an okay card. Donald Duck is actually a pretty good target for this Beagle Boys. It was one that came to mind. It is a set 5 card. When you play this character, you may put the top card of your deck into your Inkwell face down and exerted. So you could rush in with Donald Duck with Resist and the Beagle Boys. It's a really nice combo. So I'm glad to see Donald Duck's in there. We got Monsieur Duarc, which is a new one. 1 cost Inkable, 1/2 stat line, the despicable proprietor. Proprietor. There you go. 1/2 stat line quest for 1. I've come to collect. Whenever this character quests, you may banish chosen item of yours to draw a card. That's an insanely good card. Wow. Okay, that is actually really good for a 1 cost character. This is honestly one of the best 1 cost characters we have in Disney Lorcana. This is the best card I think I've seen so far. This card is most certainly going to see competitive play, I guess. Sapphire has a weakness of 1 cost characters. In this particular deck with the Maurice's Machine and the Belle and the Beast. Wow, this card's great. Really, really strong card. Potentially, anyway. Belle, which is obviously going to be a great shift target for the Mechanic Extraordinaire because she is a shift 7. So you can play Belle on turn 3, and once you get to 7 ink, you can shift Belle. But Belle is, for each item card in your discard, you pay 1 ink less to play this character when using her shift ability. So if you've got 2 cards in your discard, you could shift 5. If you've got 3, you could shift 4. During your turn, you may banish chosen item of yours to play this character for free. Wait, what? Okay. That's absurdly good. That changes everything. Wow. Wow. That's an insane card. Holy moly, Batman. So you could banish Maurice's Machine. Yeah. For free. That's insane. Banish Maurice's Machine. Return an item card with cost 2 or less from your discard to your hand. Play Belle for nothing. Oh my goodness. This card's insane. This changes everything. And then you can shift this Belle on. And suddenly the deck makes a lot more sense. This is the best card in the deck so far. Wow. Wow. That's insane. That is incredibly good. 3 of those. You're going to want to try and pick up a 4th. That's absurdly good. Robin Hood, another new card. 3 cost Inkable with support. 3/3 stat line. There's been... Oh, what was the flavor text? Helping her dad keep the flying debris to a minimum. Support. Whenever this character quests, yep, we know how support works. There's been a heap of legends and tall tales about Robin Hood, all different to Alan and Dale. Helping Hand, which is an old card. Medal of Heroes, which we've already seen. Ever as before, which we already know as well. All right, so that is the Ruby Sapphire deck. There is going to be a deck guide coming soon, but a lot of the new cards I'm very intrigued by. Particularly impressed by this Belle card, which we saw at the end. I'm going to get these sleeved up. Of course, you will also get a pack in yours, but mine is a press kit, which I got early, so no pack for me. But I got it for free, so thanks, Ravensburger, for sending me this. It's very kind of you. Probably going to expect to see everything that we saw in the previous. You've got your damage counters. Quick start rules. Is there anything different in the booklet here? I would imagine it's the same. It is. All of the same stuff in the booklet. Same little paper playmat. But on to the good stuff, which is, of course, the cards. And I'm very excited now to see what we've got. The first card, I already know this one, Jafar, but the foiling looking really beautiful on that. You see the whole card is foiled. Jafar newly crowned. During an opponent's turn, whenever one of your illusion characters is banished, you may return that card to your hand. Now the Hexwell crown is finally mine. No force in Lorcana can stand against me. And of course, we know that the next set is going to be called Reign of Jafar. And we've got the Iago, which has the new Vanish keyword, which is a downside, actually. When an opponent chooses this character for an action, banish them. So if you were to choose Iago with an action, just something simple like a Painting the Roses red, which usually would just lower its strength by 1, it's going to banish them. So you might say, well, why on earth would I want to play this card? Well, it's because of the downside of its ability. It allows it to have really big stats. 4/6 evasive is absolutely huge. So I'm excited to see some other illusion cards with the Vanish keyword. Because, yeah, the keyword here, the illusion, is the tag. And that's what we're looking for Jafar. This one is not an illusion. It's Madam Mim, the cheating spellcaster. 6 cost Inkable, 4/5 stat line. Quests for 2. Play rough. Whenever this character quests, exert chosen opposing character. She only wants rules so she can break them. It's always really powerful in Disney Lorcana when you can exert readied characters. So this card could be quite strong. I think compared to other tools in the metagame that can do this, it's probably a little bit too slow because you have to play it and then quest with it. So I don't know if it'll see competitive. Okay, I got distracted. All my days restoring the crown. And the art here of Jafar restoring the Hexwell crown that they've been searching for. This is what Ursula had. It's an action. It's 6 cost uninkable, which is very expensive. Exert all opposing characters. Whenever one of your characters banishes another character in a challenge this turn, gain 2 lore. Wow. The Hexwell surged with pure creative energy, fusing the crown's pieces into a final burst of power. Oh my goodness, he has done it. Is that card good? I mean, it's definitely got big potential. That's for sure. Especially with your illusions, which maybe have big power. 6 cost uninkable is very, very expensive, though. Another rare, we've got Raya the Guidance Seeker. 3 cost inkable, 1/4 stat line. It quests for 2. The ability is a greater purpose. During your turn, whenever a card is put into your inkwell, this character gains resist 1. Not really too convinced by Raya as a competitive card. We've got Farzo, the War Hero. 3 cost inkable, 2/3 stat line, questing for 1. Training exercises. Whenever one of your characters challenges another character, if it's the second challenge this turn, gain 3 lore. That's pretty interesting. Every trap you disarm, every test you pass, honors us all. Well done. This card's got to be good. There's a card Calhoun in Steel, which has a 3/2 stat line and resist 1. And whenever that banishes something in a challenge, you gain 2 lore. So being able to combine this with things like Robin Hood could be really good. And obviously with the restoring the crown, Robin Hood, Calhoun, like a challenge heavy deck, definitely seems possible in Steel. And of course, you don't have to play Farzo necessarily in Steel Amethyst, but you do have to play Restoring the Crown in Steel Amethyst. It's a really expensive card, though, for an uninkable. We've got Kashikim, the Ancient Ruler with a 4/3 stat line, questing for 1. You presume much to think you are welcome here. Card's not bad at all. 4/3 stat line. I mean, if you compare it to Madam in Fox, sadly, it's just not going to be quite good enough to see competitive play, but it's not bad. The Amethyst Coil, a 3 cost item, which is uninkable. Magical Touch. Whenever a character is put into your inkwell, you may move 1 damage counter from chosen character to chosen opposing character. Shanzai's Coil flared, sending a tendril of mystical energy towards the damage glimmer. I'm not sure. Definitely some story going on there. I don't think it's a great card for an uninkable. Magical Maneuvers, 2 cost, action. Return chosen character of yours to your hand and exert chosen character. Again, being able to exert opposing characters is a really powerful tool. And this card has potential with something like a rabbit or a goat. It is like another bounce card. I think it could see play. I actually don't hate the look of it, but I imagine it might be a little bit too weak. Okay, that's exciting. Giant Cobra. 3 cost inkable. The Ghostly Serpent. It's a dual color card. 4/4. It's an illusion, and it has the vanish keyword. So with Jafar, during an opponent's turn, whenever one of your illusion characters is banished, you may return that card to your hand. So if you have Jafar down on the board, and the Giant Cobra is banished in your opponent's turn, this comes just straight back to your hand. When you play this character, you may choose and discard a card to gain 2 lore. So there's some interesting synergy there with other illusions. You could discard... Oh, no, I was going to say you could discard an illusion and then bam. But not really. So you're having to discard if you would like to gain 2 lore. The thing is this card just has really good stats anyway with that 4/4. It's very interesting. It does come with the vanish, which is a downside. But 4/4 is big stats. And you may discard a card to gain 2 lore. So it's almost like a late game goat, right? If you have lots of cards in hand, you can just discard something, gain 2 lore. It's like a double goat. So it's definitely got a lot of potential. It's a very, very fascinating card. Of course, limited to Amethyst and Steel. Arthur Wart, which is a card we've seen in the past. Helga Sinclair, Tough as Nails. 2 cost uninkable with a 0/4 stat line and Challenger 3 and questing for 1. During your turn, this character gains evasive. This card's pretty good, actually. Wow. 3/4 that can deal with evasives. That is a really good answer to Diablo, but it is uninkable, so it does come at heavy cost. Maybe if you can find like a Helga Sinclair Shift that's good, this one could be even better. We've got Mufasa, the respected king. Do you see this pillar? Even after it has fallen, it can still serve a purpose. Not a great card, but I've seen worse. Double Trouble, which is an action. Deal 1 damage each to up to 2 chosen characters. We've had enough of your shenanigans. Take that, Meriwether. I think it's like there's better cards than this, like Baboon, which just deals 2 to 1 character. Is probably going to be better on average. But maybe there's some synergy there where, you know, like exerting damage characters, I think was one of these abilities we saw. I don't know. I think there's like some sort of card which exerts damage characters, for example. So maybe. Training Dummy, which is a card we've already seen in the past and is not that good. The Carpenter, we've also seen before and doesn't see any competitive play. We've got Tanana, which is a 4/4 vanilla. This is a place of wonder and learning. Pay attention to the owl and see what she can teach you. Not a great card. We've got Treasure Guardian, which looks good, my early impression. When you play this character, if you have an illusion character in play, you may draw a card. At last, after all my years of searching, Jafar. Definitely got potential. It's not an illusion itself. The Foreboding Sentry. I mean, if you think about this, there's like Dolores Madrigal, which is a 3/3, which quests for 2. And when you play Dolores, you draw a card if your opponent has an exerted character. Maybe that condition is more easy to meet than Treasure Guardian, and Dolores doesn't quite see competitive play. It might be a bit short. That's a sick art by Max Greke. And it's Tekar, the Lava Monster, Challenger 2, questing for 2. You want to get to Tafiti, you have to go through a whole ocean of bad, not to mention Tekar. Probably not going to see competitive play, but it has got impressive stats. We've got a 1/3 Pain, the Imprudent Imp. Wasn't there something the boss wanted us to take care of? Was it testing these arrows? There's some Panic and Pain cards in other sets which have synergy. Like if you have a character named Panic, if you have a character named Pain. So these might be good there. Here's Panic, which is a 4-cost, 2/3 questing for 2. The Startled Shriek. When you play this character, you may move up to 2 damage counters from chosen character to chosen opposing character. That's a really good card. That is not bad at all. This one actually might be good enough to see some competitive play, I think. This is a serious card. We've got Raja, the Ghostly Tiger, which is also an illusion, and it has the Vanish ability. 3/3 questing for 1. He may be spectral, but the danger is very real. Again, usually if this was like a vanilla card, it would be like a 2/3 that quested for 1. So by having the Vanish ability, it gains 1 extra strength. And of course has synergy with Jafar. Very Merry on Birthday, which is a card we've already seen, as is Retrosphere. Neither of these see competitive play, nor does the Royal Guard. Nor does King Hubert. A lot of old cards in this one, it seems like. Akala, the Wolfpack Elder, 3/2, questing for 1. A wise leader does not shy away from difficult decisions when the safety of the pack is at stake. Hey Hey! Oh my days, is the new Hey Hey in Steel. Do we have a Steel Hey Hey yet? We do. This is the second Steel Hey Hey. The Rambling Rooster, it's a vanilla stat line 2/2. Why is he wearing a coconut, says Archazia, and Shanzay says, it's probably better not to ask. Hey Hey! We do love a Hey Hey, don't we? We certainly do. We got Razul, which is a 2-cost, 1/3. My orders come from Jafar. When you play this character, if you have a character named Jafar in play, you may banish chosen item. Includes your own or your opponent's. Mere trinkets won't get you any closer to Jafar. I don't think this card's very good at all. I think this card's actually very, very poor. And finally, oh, this is a spicy one, a new Jafar card. This is a big deal because the main Jafar deck is still going to be with the legendary Jafar from 3rd set. Is when, you know, whenever you draw a card when it's exerted, you gain a law. And this looks like a really good shift target. The Aspiring Ruler. That's better. When you play this character, chosen character gets Challenger 2 this turn. It quests for 2 and it's got a 3/2 stat line. At last, both halves of the crown belong to me. This card is great. Overall, my thoughts on the starter deck, it's a little bit mid. It's actually a little bit less than mid. I think this one's quite poor, actually. I don't really think this one's very good at all. I think there's a lot of interesting cards in there, and I think that the Jafar foil and this Jafar, if you're looking to build a Jafar deck, would be great options. But my early feeling is the other one might be a better deck, honestly. That's my early impression. But I'm going to be playing and testing these a lot over the coming days. So I'll let you know in future videos what that is. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video. Big shout out to Card Market for sponsoring the video, and see you very soon.